Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from O'Hara. I absolutely loved that theory video we checked out the other day. Absolutely blew my mind. So then to see that he has got the best One Piece theory you'll ever watch, but better, my mind intrigued. I don't know if I'm going to get spoiled on anything, but if I do, then that's my own fault for not checking, I guess. But I just want to see where these crazy theories go. Like the last one, I like how it started off to be like, it seemed like it was being silly and jokey, and then everything just started coming together, and it was like that meme where it's like that one. Right, let's get into it. The best One Piece theory.
When you turn the One Piece logo on its head, just like Roger wanted to turn the world on its head, you get a spacecraft as well as a three-eyed skull. The reoccurring theme of the frozen giants tells us the secret of immortality behind the enormous frozen straw hat in Marijoa.
Okay.
And the island foreshadows what happened during the Void Century, including Usopp's Snow Queen here, that might show Luffy defeating the hidden ruler of the world, as well as the strongest devil fruit there is.
What?
This is only the tip of
okay, yeah, right, go on. What?
I'm going to share with you today. Hunting clues to reveal who Imu, the mysterious mastermind behind the story of One Piece, truly is.
Oh my god. Oh my god, alright.
I'm excited to say that I think this theory is even better than the last one.
Oh man, it was so good.
You seem to have liked.
Oh yeah.
However, these two actually don't contradict each other at all.
Oh.
Much rather, what absolutely blew my mind when I found out is that both smoothly connect as part of one epic mega theory. So, just
cool.
This
alright.
Is the best One Piece theory ever, part 2. Now, of course, I didn't come up with all of this. The real clue hunter
the Daft Punk dude.
Once again the Japanese god of One Piece theories, Yuderon, who kindly enough gave me green light to share more
That's
of
cool.
Content.
I like that he's actually checking with him. That's
I'm going to be
class.
summarizing over 10 of Yuderon's videos in this single
Oh
one
god,
here.
right, okay.
We're going to cover all sorts of evidence here, so please remember
Are they
that
clips from
neither
Case
Imu
Closed?
or Yuderon claim that every single detail here is 100% fact. Just make up your own mind.
Theories!
It's a theory! Who knows, maybe you'll come to a completely different conclusion. You might want to get yourself a nice
that looks nice. I'm yet to be able to make my coffees like that. Foreshadowing,
Factually,
okay.
there is close to nothing we know about Im from the story.
Yeah.
Just as you, I was completely shocked and honestly confused that Oda seemingly just threw the main antagonist into the story 900 chapters.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. Like, middle of Reverie, it's like, oh god.
All we really know is that this person sits on the empty throne
where no one's meant to.
Held by no one.
Yeah.
Secretly ruling over the entire world.
Mind blown. Absolutely mind blown.
Dragons and even the Gorosei themselves.
Yeah.
So when I first
nailed him.
This 10+ video series on Im, I was genuinely confused and skeptical where you would even
get the information.
That material character from. But video by video and piece by piece, I could feel my mind being blown over and over and over again. Because as I realized, there has been foreshadowing for Im throughout the story as early as Syrup Village even. Which, in retrospect, makes a lot of sense because Oda has planned his ending right from the
beginning.
start.
Yeah.
Now, there are countless possible routes we could start the theory from. But I think to have a solid foundation to build on, the best one is starting with all the foreshadowing and symbolism for Im. These are the two katakana characters to spell I.
Right.
There are two very common theories in Japan when it comes to the inspiration for her character. The central wordplay here is 16. Imu. And when you take the two letters together, they form the kanji character for Buddha. Now, based on this, some people have speculated that this is a reference to France, which in Japanese is spelled as Buddha country, for whatever reason, I guess. So, this may very well be a nod to the French Revolution, and especially to the rule of Louis XIV, Louis the 16th. And indeed, as I explained in my analysis of Trafalgar d. Waterloo Law, the French Revolution and the events surrounding it are without any doubt inspiration for parts of the plot, and might very well hint at the past or future of Im's reign. The other alternative is going back to the Buddha itself. Here, the number 16 is considered as a holy number, that in One Piece is referenced, for instance,
the bell!
Ringing the bell at Marine 16 times.
Oh my god!
Flamingo's strongest attack.
16 holy bullets. What?
general, there are two Buddha-like...
Okay, oh, I'm bored now. This is sick.
Who literally ate the Buddha fruit, and the second Buddha in the story, any guesses, is no one else than good old Tonoyasu from Wano, who is seen as a Buddha by the people of Ebisu Town.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, how do these two characters connect?
Yeah,
both of them are, of course, former military leaders, and both of them share the symbol of the maple leaf. Sengoku wearing a shirt with them on it, and Yasu explicitly being said to have loved maple landscapes. And so, the first major clue in our chase after Im, I guarantee, will already surprise you. It's none other than the world's most badass grandma, Dr. Kureha.
Well, she knows about the Will of D in that.
Literally means maple leaves.
Oh, what?
As you'll remember from my interview with Yuderon, Oda writes One Piece according to the principle two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Mirroring, twisting, and inverting many elements in the story in two places. So, based on that idea, many characters Oda has introduced at certain points in the story serve as foreshadowing to Im's true identity. And so, we'll also be looking at people like Enel, Pudding Doflamingo, and even Robin. Especially Robin.
Robin.
Skypiea is the key for Joy Boy and the Ancient Kingdom, as I explained in part 1. Drum Island might be the most important one when it comes to Im and the secrets surrounding her. And Dr. Kureha is the one that has the closest connection here. Her name not only connects her to Im's name through the Buddha, but the wordplay for the chapter in which Im makes her big appearance, 908, is Kureha. Her disciple Chopper is a reindeer, which in Japanese is called Junroku. Junroku 16. And the volume in which we talk about the two is volume 16 as well. Kureha, coincidentally, is also the one who first introduces us to the idea of inherited will and the will of D, as well as revealing Roger's true name to be
Gold D. Roger, yeah.
Here, we also first
she knows about the Will of D as well, yeah.
Where we literally see the very first reverie taking place before meeting Im during the second one. Chopper also plays an important role here, of course. The deer and the maple leaf, by the way, are a strong playing card in the Japanese game Hanafuda. Now, the big theme of Drum Island is, of course, medicine. Chopper, of course...
Yes, it really is. Oh my god, the mushroom thing.
This is because all doctors in the country have been monopolized by Walpole to control the population before being chased away by Blackbeard. Now, however, Kureha sits in his empty castle at the top of a high mountain overlooking the rest of the people. Does this remind you of anything? As you've just figured out, this castle and Pangaea Castle on top of the Red Line are two sides of the same coin, right? Im-sama is the one who sits in the empty throne. And so the idea here is that Kureha represents certain traits of Im as well, something to do with medicine. Dressrosa, which also served as a miniature of the world at large, just like Drum Island, has a ruler that monopolizes healing abilities. Doflamingo's capture of Princess Moncherie.
Her tears.
Dofi and Walpole, a former celestial dragon and an aspiring one. Oh, and by the way, an important theme throughout this video is that Dofi and his crew all represent certain traits of Im as well in some way or form. Now, Drum Island is also inspired by Canada. The small town here, for example, is looked after the Canadian city Banff, is how I think you pronounce that. Canada being, of course, connected to maple and also maple syrup. And sweets will also be very relevant later on, as you'll see.
Oh my god,
The connection here is sugar. Not only does she wear a hood and a crown similar to Imu, but her abilities allow her to erase memories, just as happened during the Void Century.
Of course,
Kureha and Sugar are women way older than they look. Sugar being a 22-year-old in the body of a kid, and Kureha being a striking 140, but still going strong.
Still in the youthful 130s, but okay.
See where I'm going with this? If these two characters are connected to Imu, that would mean that she is also a woman with an unusually long lifespan. How long? How about eternal lifelong? One thing that always confused me was the fact that the 20 kings, just like the 20 doctors on Drum Island by the way, chose to abandon their kingdoms and move to Marijar. I'm sure they all had all the luxuries that they could
a lot of similarities going on. I see what he means,
like. They even had to give up their power over donations to new royal families. What exactly is it then that Imu could have offered a king that they didn't already have?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think one of the reasons that Imu was staring so intently at Vivi was due to the fact that she could not comprehend how her ancestors could have passed on the opportunity to gain immortality.
Huh.
I mean, just look at Cobra, the king of Alabasta, and how radically he has aged over the course of just 2 years. Compare that with the Gorosei, who appear
all
to
look
haven't
very,
aged
very...
a day since we saw them 22 years ago.
Yeah, but they all look very old, though.
The almost feels deliberate. The first time the Gorosei are introduced is chapter 233. The wordplay here is
Jin
Miraisai,
There's
a
always
Buddhist
something.
term meaning as much as until the crack of doom, or till the end of time.
Right.
Imu's first chapter, 906, is Ku on Norisu, the ideal of eternity. To me, the reality seems to be that in the world of One Piece, immortality has already been achieved. Don't you also find it suspicious, for instance, that the world nobles who love hoarding powerful
it's one of those things as well that, like, when Doflamingo's
no problem with law joining the warlords, that they apparently didn't care for his ability to perform the immortality surgery.
Like, for them to know it must have been done already. You know, for them to know that that's a thing, surely it has to have been done to someone, so that is probably what has happened to Imu then.
I don't know about you, but I feel like they would definitely try to monopolize and reuse this ability for themselves. Instead, the person desperate for this ability is none other than Dofi, a former celestial dragon who got taken to Earth by his father and denied re-entry by the otherworld nobles. If he was living a life of promised immortality up on Morijoa, wouldn't it make all the sense in the world that he would resent his father for taking that away, and that he would want his birthright back, to live forever?
Yeah, inside the Holy Land of Morijoa, you know.
So, is the national treasure of Morijoa literally an extended lifespan for its citizens? The other national treasure we know of is that on Fishman Island, coincidentally located directly under the castle at the bottom of the sea, two sides of the same coin. The books on Fishman Island contained a drug that took away lifespan for more power.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Makes sense if the national treasure of Morijoa granted more lifespan in exchange for literally less power of the nobles, giving up control and submitting to one ruler. The parallels between Drum Island, Fishman Island, and Morijoa don't end here, though. Two characters that mirror each other as well are Nami and Shirahoshi. You might remember that as well from my interview with Yudoro. They have the same look, including the same over-proportional boobs. Their mothers share very similar personalities and deaths. Both
sacrifices,
were oppressed by fishmen and both locked up for their abilities. Sanji even calls Nami a mermaid princess in chapter 69. And on Drum Island, we see Luffy climbing the walls of the castle on the mountain, just like Fisher Tiger did, to save Nami's life. So could it be that the same thing again for Shirahoshi, fulfilling his and Joy Boy's promise to bring her and the fishmen up to the surface? The other big clue is the suits of the celestial dragons. Yes, they do look like spacesuits, and I do want to talk about that in just a second as well. What I want to focus on right now, however, is the bubble that they wear whenever leaving their residencies. Is it really only a symbol of not wanting to breathe the same air as the peasants down below? I mean, they don't seem
do they stay youthful because they just
except Charles, maybe. But Mjolsgard is not insulted when he loses his helmet on Fishman Island. He looks genuinely scared to me. So what if the Celestial Dragons actually carry around air from Morijoa with them, not because they need to rub it into everyone's face that they're
to
not
stay
part
youthful,
of the Gucci gang, but because the air gives them immortality. Mjolsgard even has a beard when we meet him again, suggesting that he aged somewhat during his time with the fishmen. He even says that Otohime made him human. And another thing we know makes Fishman Island special is that it is illuminated despite being at the bottom of the ocean by the roots of the mother tree Eve. And so the idea that the top of Eve goes through the red line and up into Morijoa is not exactly new. We also know that Eve is related to the trees on Sabaody that create these bubbles that can be used to coat ships. Funnily enough, this is done by none other than Rayleigh, someone who knows the true history.
Yeah.
So if Eve reaches all the way from the bottom of the sea to the top of the red line, that would mean that there could be a bubble held in place underground on top of its leaves, creating an artificial space similar to Fishman Island at the bottom that allows the celestial dragons to extend their lives, having to bring small bubbles of it wherever they go to not lose the air's effect. Now, there are no clues to whether it's the tree itself that could create this effect, or whether it just serves as a container. If it did have the effects of immortality, however, that would mean that Im, just like Walpole, holds the monopoly of immortality in the world by enclosing Eve into stone under Meridior. So, just like Dr. Herolook's cherry blossoms could heal the hearts of the people of Drum Island, could Eve cure the actual bodies of those on Meridior? Well, Sengoku and Tonoyasu's hair do the exact same thing.
Oh my god, they do, yeah.
And as we know, cutting down trees is a quite common theme in the story. Noland cutting down the holy trees of the Shadorans to save their lives, cutting down the giant jack to defeat Enel, the literal tree of knowledge being cut down on O'Hara, and Chopper's name literally coming from chopping down a tree. And so if the Straw Hats had to cut down the Eve tree to end the immortality of Imu and the Celestial Dragons, wouldn't that also fulfill the prophecy, destroying Fishman Island in the process?
Yeah.
Wow.
Said that Luffy's going to do that at some point in the future.
Let me take a quick break. Whoa. No time for breaks. I'm going to take over for you right now. Oh, also you should subscribe. Yeah, you should make sure to... get the hell out of here. Part 2. Im's origin and history.
Cool, let's go.
Okay, so first, the Giant Jack and Enel. We've already talked about how important Skypiea was as an arc in the last video.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Enel declaring himself God and being taken down by Luffy, the natural enemy of gods, makes it really easy for me to form a connection between Enel and Imu. Again, two sides of the
same coin.
So here, instead of Eve, we have the Giant Jack, and instead of Meridior, we have the Holy Land of Gods. You get the idea. Enel is a fake god without wings, ruling over the sky people and traveling up to the moon to God's realm. So if we invert this, does this mean that Im is a real god with wings, ruling over fake gods after coming down from the moon from God's realm?
Whoa.
Yep, but it's not quite what you think. A likely inspiration for Im is the story of Princess Kaguya. If you watch Naruto, you're probably already familiar with this. But if your first reaction to this was the same as mine, oh damn, now they're gonna ruin One Piece the same way as Naruto. No worries, it actually makes way more sense. You already correctly guessed that Im resembles Kaguya a lot. The Five Nobles might very well represent the Gorosei. Bamboo is also represented by Virgo in the Don Quixote Pirates. We even have the Potion of Immortality thrown in there. Kaguya returned to the moon, handed over the Potion of Immortality, and got her memories erased. So, inverting that, Im came from the moon, took immortality for herself, and erased everyone else's memories. The feathered cloak, of course, also connects us to Doflamingo, who literally has no compassion for others. His birdcage might then be a metaphor.
He definitely knows stuff as well, doesn't he? Laughing his head off in Impel Down,
like. Might be an ancient weapon used to create floods. However, as we will see, Im is not an actual citizen of the moon, as they prepared an army to fight against whoever invaded them. And given that their descendants fought with the ancient kingdom against the enemy, they most likely were Im's enemies as well. So, if not one of the sky people, who then is Imu? Let's return now to the idea that the celestial dragons are actually wearing spacesuits. Those suits, as well as the hoof of the dragon, are the main two symbols that we associate with the world nobles. Now, this may sound very weird, but I'm going to show you a fresco from a monastery in Kosovo, which is actually a World Heritage Site. In the middle here, we see Jesus, and on the top right, there is this guy here. Now, this was painted in the 14th century, and I guess it won't surprise you to find out that many have taken this to be the depiction of a spaceship by the unknown artist. Now, what interests us here, however, is whether Oda might have taken the symbol as inspiration, making Im someone who came to Earth
Yeah,
from
like
somewhere else.
yeah, like an alien. Yeah.
Because if you take this symbol and turn it by
It's
90 degrees,
looking the same.
you
Yeah.
perfectly get the symbol of the celestial dragon.
Yeah, it looks like
and
very similar.
Another interesting
Damn.
detail I noticed as well when looking at this was the sphere with the 8 orbs surrounding it that we know from Alabasta, Wano, and Shadora. Whoa, but is Oda even into aliens? Well, let me take a look at the first volume of One Piece and...
Oh.
So, let's go down the alien route a little bit more then.
Oh my god.
Pirates after all. Oda also mentioned in the author's note of volume 96 that when you turn 96 on its head, you don't get 69. And the idea of turning things on its head are a pretty fundamental concept in One Piece.
Seems it. Turn the world upside down with me? Yeah.
Now, this seems to be related to the story in the manga, but could it be that Oda is telling us to turn the literal manga on
upside
its head?
down?
Well, let's try. So, I think it doesn't take too much fantasy to see the straw hat as a flying sorcerer with
maybe.
the moon above it. However, what is really interesting, I think, is that the skull suddenly also becomes a new face. The nose flipped on its head becomes a face with 2 eyes and a 3rd eye on top of it. Well, where have we seen that before? The mouth of the skull then turns into this elongated head. But that would be ridiculous. Who would have a head like... Oh, right. The symbol of the literal space pirates that we saw, as well as Fukuro Kujo and Wano. Imu also has this elongated shape. So could her and Fukuro Kujo be of the same race? The Three-Eye tribe that we now know exists thanks to Pudding's introduction. But then Fukuro Kujo would also need to have a 3rd eye, and he clearly doesn't. Or does he? Look at this patch of skin on his forehead.
Does it open up?
This looks very suspiciously like it could be an eye. And we actually don't know what his other eyelids look like, since conveniently he's wearing sunglasses. Also to hide the fact that he has the same ringed eyes as Imu. Why is there a mosquito? He even has this large wrinkle when he's depicted as a young man. And if Fukuro Kujo gets longer and longer with age, wouldn't that mean that Imu would have had a long time to get really long with age as well? Which would also connect Enel to this, who has the same Buddha-like ears. Now, we already know that the Three-Eye tribe is said to have unique abilities. Shiva, the supreme god of Hinduism, also has a 3rd eye, and it can also be seen on many Buddha statues. And even in the West, there is the famous Eye of Providence, which represents the all-seeing Eye of God. And in the world of One Piece, this 3rd eye seems to be able to decipher the poneglyphs. Pudding is only half 3rd eye, but when the 3rd eye is truly awakened, does it have the ability to see anything? Like clairvoyance? And speaking of clairvoyance, that would fit perfectly with Viola's ability as one of the members of the Don Quixote pirates. Now, Viola appeared to Sanji sitting on a chair, again summoning the image of Imu on her throne. Mihawk, who also has Im's eyes, also appears the first time sitting on a chair. And funnily enough, the same is true for Pudding, who we also meet sitting in a chair. The same is true for Hancock, who teaches us about the mark of the celestial dragons, and who's able to turn people into stone. The stone is actually another symbol closely linked to Imu. In chapter 877, we see how Pedro blows himself up.
Yeah, that was sad, that, man.
Again, 2 sides of the same coin, with Dr. Hirolook's death on Drum Islands. The wordplay for this chapter is banana. So, what does a banana have to do with stone? You'll like this one.
Okay,
there is
a
very common type of myth in Asia called banana-type myths, which, let's be real for a second, is the best name of anything ever. Now, they're all a bit different depending on the region, but all these tales follow the same pattern. A god presents a stone and a banana to a person. The person chooses the banana because at least he can eat the banana. However, the changeless stone is a symbol for immortality. So if the person had chosen the stone, they would have become forever. By choosing the banana, however, that rots fast, they choose a short and mortal life. Now, if Im represents the godly and immortal stone, who could represent the human and fast-lived banana in One Piece? Exactly. Kaido. Just kidding, it's Monkey D. Dragon and Monkey D. Luffy, the two main threats to Imu's rule.
Right.
And now what is really interesting is that in the Japanese version of this myth, the banana is replaced with a flower. And that brings me to probably the most interesting connection to Im-sama of them all.
Come on.
Nico Robin, user of the flower fruit. Robin and Imu are, you guessed it, two sides of the same coin. Imu is 1/6, while Robin is 6/1. Robin's hometown Ohara, which has disappeared from the world map, is the exact opposite of the world's center, the sacred city of Merijo. On Ohara, there is the Tree of Knowledge, while on Merijo, there is Eve, who got cast out of paradise for eating from said Tree of Knowledge. Robin's protector is Dr. Clover, who is directly connected to the Gorosei, who protect Imu. And look at chapter 237, where Robin literally uses a third eye. Robin has the flower fruit, while Imu is seen in her flower garden in Pangaea Castle. And Robin might actually also be the greatest hint at Im's backstory.
Oh my God.
She is the devil child. So, reversing that, Im-sama could be seen as the child of
God,
gods.
right.
While Robin was feared and hated for her abilities, Imu might have been valued and cherished for hers.
Yeah.
However, maybe just like Robin, people will have tried to exploit her for it anyways. Another great parallel is how Big Mom used to hate Pudding and treat her just like Robin was treated until she found out about the three-eyed powers, when she suddenly became Big Mom's favorite.
Yeah.
But she still was exploited anyway. Remember what Saul shouted to Robin through the fires of her burning home? He says Robin will not be alone forever. So Imu has probably been alone forever.
Right.
As far as we know, only the Gorosei even know of her existence. A person ruling in secret from a throne that is not even supposed to exist. And actually, let's stick with Saul here for a moment and look at the symbol of the frozen giants. Because his introduction to the story was very interesting to me in many ways. A giant with the will of D, Saul is a reference to the devoted Jew Saul, who one day was blinded by a heavenly light and saw a sign from Jesus, upon which he converted to Christianity and became Paul. Similar to this, Saul converted away from the celestial dragons to help the people of Ohara. An interesting detail here, in English we know him as Jaguar D. Saul. However, Jaguar is not his name in Japanese. Not even close. It's actually Haguaru. Haguaru. Hugging the world, which makes sense to me because he's the one who tells Robin that there are also many gentle giants as well. Now, what connects Robin and her frozen giant to Imu then? You guessed it, the giant frozen hat deep under Merijo. Could this straw hat belong to Saul's ancestor? A good giant with the name of D and a straw hat? And what if I told you that we've already seen that in the story?
What?
Another frozen giant is Ors on Thriller Bark. And he literally takes on Luffy's personality when Moria puts his shadow in him. Luffy, but a giant. That's the symbol of the person who wore that giant straw hat, which is why we see Luffy smiling at us when Imu enters the room. Now, the big question, of course, is why did Imu keep it? Shouldn't the D who wore it be the natural enemy of her? Again, it's Robin that I think might give us the decisive clue here. Robin's defining character moment, of course, is this.
I want to live! Yeah, it's just so good. Nice.
So, what's the inversion of this for Imu? I wanna die? Actually, no. What is probably the case here is that the inversion of I want to live is actually I have to live. Imu is immortal, or more specifically, not allowed to die. While she can grant the celestial dragons immortality, she herself might have gotten hers in a different way. You've probably already stumbled across the idea that Imu had the immortality surgery performed on her.
Yeah.
What if the person who did that was none other than our giant version of Luffy 800 years ago? And the reason why Imu keeps that straw hat is because it belongs to the person who saved her life.
Oh.
Just like Robin was saved by her giant and later by her straw hats. The title of chapter 397
Whoa.
is To Reach the Future.
Oh
Not only Robin, but also Imu. And the other big clue that Imu had the immortality surgery performed on her is chapter 660. Here, once again, we have the symbol of the frozen giant on Hazard.
Yeah.
The title of this chapter is The Royal Shichibukai Trafalgar Law. This is where the symbol of the frozen giant and the Opi Opi no Mi come together.
Okay.
The wordplay for this chapter is Rorumu, law, room, well as memory. Which is funny, because memory is symbolized in One Piece by the falling of snow. Snow, by the way, represented by Monet, Sugar's older sister. And this will be our clue to find out what happened that caused the Void Century. A period between 800 and 900 years ago that cannot be told about, that has been erased from memory, and where any research is forbidden by the penalty of death. This is exactly what happened to Ohara after finding out that a huge kingdom was destroyed during these 100 years. The motive here is most likely the French 100-year war. Remember from the start of this video, like 10 hours ago? It was a civil war fought by the French lords around 1400, and it was a war of territorial disputes. The French Revolution broke out 400 years later, and it is referenced a lot in One Piece, as I explained in my law video. But how exactly do you erase 100 years of history from the world without killing every single person? This is how Imu did it. Okay, finally we can talk about Usopp and his Snow Queen.
Alright. Interesting.
Luffy Snowman, by the way, with a cape, 3 eyes, and a long head. In this episode, Snowfall appears for the first time. When the ship suddenly changes directions, Luffy asks Nami if she forgot something. And after all the chaos is over, Zoro wakes up not remembering a thing of what has happened. Of course, we have all the snowfall on Drum Island, which represents Imu as well as Hirulook's memories. Hirulook's last words being...
When people forget him.
Then we have ash falling like snow in memory of the Burning Mary. We have another winter island with Punk Hazard, an island forgotten by the world and filled with the memories of Vegapunk. And we have, of course, Ringo region in Wano, which is also filled with memories for Zoro and Hiyori. Notice how the snowfall also goes hand in hand with destruction. The snowman, Dr. Hirulook, the Mary, the island of Punk Hazard, Wano. The most interesting case of snow, however, is probably during Whole Cake Islands. According to Uderon, chapter 900 might represent 900 years ago and the start of the Void Century. Cannonballs falling like snow. Could Big Mom's musical tell the story of the destruction of the ancient kingdom on Jaya? Chapter 901. Even if you die, don't die, represents the swallowing of Laugh-Tale by a whale and its escape. Basically, how Laugh-Tale probably vanished from Jaya. You know, like the little island inside Laboon that Crocus lives on.
Yeah.
Then, chapter 902, End Roll, is the end of the war and the erasure of memories. The wordplay here is for eternity. In it, we see Pudding falling in love with Sanji and kissing him, but not having the courage to let him know. So she cut out
takes
his
it out,
memories, powers.
Oh.
Pudding, also a member of the Three-Eye Tribe, of course representing Imu here, and how she took away the world's memories to create the Void Century. And will you look at this? Coincidentally, it is snowing cotton candy in this episode. Chapter 903
Oh my God,
is
what?
Luffy becoming an Emperor of the Sea being Umi in Japanese. Luffy, the Emperor of Umi and enemy of the gods, versus the godly Emperor
Imu.
Now, the image of the Snow Queen is most
what?
likely related to the story of Hans Christian Andersen, which actually has surprisingly little to do with the Disney version. Basically, there is an evil troll that creates a distorting mirror. A piece of that mirror gets stuck into the heart of a boy, so his personality changes
Yeah, he starts
drastically,
going nasty,
and
doesn't he?
he's taken away by the Snow Queen. His friend, Gerda, sets out to find the boy and heals his distorted heart with her love and tears, all taking place under the beautiful northern lights. The important things to take away from the story that clearly inspired Oda are snow, memory, the queen, light, and the mirror. And in chapter 902, which represents the erasure of memories, not only did Big Mom, the queen, putting the memories and snow appear, but also Brûlé the mirror. Also, we have Dr. Kureha again as the Snow Queen in her icy castle. And there even appears a talking reindeer in that story as well. Another surprising character connected to mirrors, light, and memories is Jungo, who is on the cover of chapter 145, where Hero Look says that people only die when they're forgotten, and blowing himself up. There is a literal mirror ball and light. And Jungo first appears way back in Sarah Village in chapter 25, which is titled 800 Lies, for no apparent reason whatsoever.
Interesting.
Jungo! In other words, I believe that the way that Im-sama and the other celestial dragons manipulated memories and created the 100-year gap 800 years ago was by covering the sky of the entire world in white, then emitting a strong light and using the reflection of that light to manipulate people's memories. Just as the strong light in the story of Princess Kaguya, after which she lost her memories. We can even see that represented at Marineford as well. Sengoku, the Buddha, Aokiji, the snow, Kizaru, the light, and Akainu, the red line. Now, the wordplay for the Japanese phrase for the Void Century is 989.
989.
So, looking at 989, what might represent the Void Century here? The answer is Frankie, or to be more precise, his radical beam. Unlike the times we've seen it before, it explicitly takes the shape of a snowflake here. And the first time light in general was referenced in the title was in chapter 850, where we see Smoker and a snake in the snow. And coincidentally, it's also the same chapter that Pudding reveals her third eye and true intentions for the first time. Imu used snow and light and some unknown power to erase the memory of the world, and thus created the Void Century, now only remembered in the inscription of the Poneglyphs.
Right.
Part 3. Imu's Devil Fruit. Now, the last riddle to solve is the question, what makes Imu so powerful that she can rule the entire world next to her three-eyed powers? Does she have a devil fruit? Yes. Yes, she does.
Oh, okay. Straight up. Right, cool.
Awesome devil fruit it is as well. In fact, it does have something to do with water, but it's not what you think it is. It's actually a mythical zone devil fruit. The initial hint we get for this is actually the Alabasta saga. It's a parallel arc to Dressrosa, and so it was no big surprise to me that it also had something to do with this. The saga is of course about Crocodile trying to steal the country and acquire the ancient weapon Pluton by depriving the entire country of its water supply. The purpose of the Baroque Works organization is to realize an ideal world, and just like no one knows about Imu, no one knows the real identity of Mr. Zero, aka Crocodile. Spoiler alert. Crocodile's weakness is water. So if we invert this, it makes water Im's strength. Chapter 212, when natural rain finally falls again on Alabasta, also has this octopus on its cover, sitting on a chair with three eyes open. The same pose as Nami on the cover of Volume 11. Nami, who incidentally was called a witch in the Arlong Park arc, who controls the weather, just like Im might be able to control the weather as well. However, the idea of controlling water is not only limited to Alabasta. Fishman Island, the opposite of Merijoa, has the martial art Fishman Karate that allows the control of water,
absolutely sick. I love Jinbei.
And even moisture in the air. So Imu's ability being very powerful, it's likely that she's able to control any form of water, including that in the air or even in the body of living things, perhaps making it possible for her to grant immortality. As you know, there are weaker and stronger versions of each devil fruits out there. Im's fruit then would be the most powerful version of Monet's snow fruit and even Aokiji's ice fruit. Because if you can control the moisture in the air, you can also freeze things. And you can of course also create storms and other weather patterns. The most powerful fruit in the world. The concepts of water and rain are closely tied to her character. Imu in reverse means Umi. Im's number 16 is also the wordplay for the word rain. Amen. The wordplay for water, Mizu, is chapter 32. And in chapter 32, we see Momo's dragon on the cover, and the title is Great Disaster. And since Ame coincidentally also means candy in Japanese, we have the link again to sugar and the entire Whole Cake Island plots. Rain, similar to snow, almost always has a destructive symbolism in One Piece. Diamante rains thorns and iron.
Oh my god,
So
yeah.
there is Doflamingo's white waves. We have Shiryu of the rain, the bombardment of Enies Lobby being compared to rain, and of course our all-favorite evening shower Kanjuro. There are also endless chapters that have various wordplays relating to Imu that have to do with water. No worries, I'm not gonna bore you with all of them now. The real question I want to know about is, what is the corresponding chapter to Imu herself? Probably chapter 16, which is a chapter about Buggy's crew? Oh damn, maybe the wordplays actually don't work at all after all.
Well,
Only
we
that
go
in
on.
the story we of course
Keep
don't talk
going.
about Imu, but Imu-sama. And Imu-sama is 163. And chapter 163 has it all. A big full moon in clear sight, Luffy wanting water, Vivi the queen hiding herself and her foreheads, Cobra stating that the weather is God's work, and of course Arubana, which has Hana flower in it as well. The second chapter that fits is 56, where we first hear about the All Blue and that features the notorious Panda Man. Oda's backstory for Panda Man is that he is a demon superhero who resolved to become strong because when he told everyone that he saw Princess Kaguya, they didn't believe him. Rings a bell, right? And for chapter 563, we have Chopper eating cotton candy with some birds. Cotton candy in Japanese being wataame, rain again. And as you can see, we have gone full circle back to Chopper, and the birds are actually important as well. Notice how many of the characters that embody Imu have a bird theme. Robin, Monet, the snowbird on Drum Island that was linked to Marijoa, Hawkeye, Doflamingo. You get the idea. So we have the symbol of the bird, of water, and of the third eye. And there is one mythological creature that unites all of these features. It is associated with eternal youth, femininity, Buddhism, the third eye in Hinduism, water manipulation, has wings, dances like the dance powder, and it's often compared to gods or angels.
Go on.
Just like Chopper has a human model devil fruit, and Sengoku has one, Imu has the human fruit model Apsis, the celestial water nymph. If you want to fully understand how this crazy theory came together, you have to watch my interview with the theory master Yuderon himself right here.
Crazy.
Thank you very much.
Whoa. There's a lot going on in that one. Oh, I wish I didn't have a cold. Jesus, that was something else. Every time it's like, where are you going with this? And it's like, oh, okay, Jesus. And the numbers and everything, and even the cover stories, the art. So freaking sick. The comparisons, I like the whole two sides of the coin thing. It works. It's like so many different, like... That was cool. Man, I might check out some more videos from O'Hara, and there's a channel called Morge that some of you have been recommending as well. And, yeah, so, damn. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all that helps support the channel. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch, discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.